tennis great Canada and world.
The following is a presentation of CBC Sports.
This was to have been the skating year of returning ice dance legends Torvill and Dean, or elegant reigning world champions Usova and Julin, hoping to embrace an Olympic title. Katarina Witt reinstated to provide a golden edge to the women's event. But only Gordieva and Grinkov could rewind the clock and reclaim past glory. Countrymen Mishkatunik and Dmitriev enjoyed a silver lining to their renewal. But for most of the re-establishment, 94 was bittersweet. The old guard found itself on the outside looking in. Kurt Browning took his final bow. As a new generation took over. At the 94 World Championships from Makahari, Japan.
And the view from above this spectacular facility, let's bring you inside the Makahari Event Center. A great scene for the 1994 World Championships. We're about 20 kilometers from downtown Tokyo. Move to the east end of the building, our host position for 6 nights of primetime coverage here on the second level. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Williams. Well, you just heard my good friend, Mr. Donald Stewart Cherry, talking about the courage of Isabelle Brasseur. Brasseur re-aggravated that rib injury suffered prior to the Lillehammer Olympics while practicing here in Tokyo. Now, this is bad news for the Canadian fans. In fact, Isabelle told me a short time ago she is in twice as much pain now as she was prior to the Olympics. No question. This event has been somewhat watered down by the absence of the professionals and medal winners like Oksana Bayul and Nancy Kerrigan. Still a tremendous competition in the men's field. Elvis Stojko goes for gold beginning tomorrow. The medals in the men's are Thursday. Great interest for Canadians tonight with Brasseur and Eisler. In addition to the injury, don't forget the pressure on Lloyd. He said at Lillehammer, without the professionals, the gold medal would have been theirs. Brasseur and Eisler tonight. For more on tonight's program, let's go down to ice level, and here's Chris Cuthbert. Chris?
Thanks, Brian. Good evening, everybody. It's almost like stepping into the 21st century here in this high-tech, futuristic-like area east of Tokyo, and that's rather appropriate because the stars of the future have taken center stage here and will dominate the skating world for the next quadrennial. People like Shailene Bourne and Victor Kratz, the great Canadian ice dancers who had a breakthrough at the Olympics. They finished in 10th spot, and they hope to follow that up with a better performance here at the Worlds. We'll get our first gauge of that during the compulsory dances tonight. And with more on what to look for this evening and throughout the week, 2 people celebrating their 10th anniversary of their World Pairs Championship, Barb Underhill and Paul Martini.
Chris, the Olympic champions Grichuk and Platov have firmly established themselves as the favorites here. And with the absence of Torvill and Dean and Yusuf Azulin, I don't see any problem with them repeating their Olympic success. The real challenge here will be for the other 2 medals, and I think that will be a 3-way battle. But the team that everybody seems to be talking about is our Canadians Shailene Bourne and Victor Kratz. With a 10th place finish at the Olympics, their sights are set even higher here. But Paul, tonight the main event will be the pairs.
Well, Barb, in the pairs competition with the absence of Gordieva and Grinkov as well as Mishkatunik and Dmitriev, Brasseur and Eisler are looking for their second consecutive World Championship title. But when you factor in Isabelle's injury, as well as the fact that at the Olympic Games, Isabelle and Lloyd were awarded the bronze medal on a 5-4 judging panel split over the Russian Shishkova Naumov, this event is very close on paper. And when you talk about awarding medals, you talk about judging, and we've had a lot of controversy there coming out of the Olympic Games. But we have the benefit this week of the knowledge and expertise of a woman who had her own Olympic moment as she judged the ice dance competition in Lillehammer. To keep up with her series on what judges are looking for, here is
In the opening night of the World Championships, up next when CBC Sports continues.
Caitlin Bourne and Victor Kratz, they were 14th at their first World Championships in Prague last year. We mentioned their breakthrough into the top 10 at the Olympics, and this will be a real gauge of how much further they can move up here.
Well, we talk a lot about the impression that they have made, and it was interesting during the warm-up with 6 teams on the ice. I looked over at the judging panel. Every member of the judging panel was watching this team.
Well, they've certainly made their mark, because last year in their very first dance, they had marks ranging from a 10th place ranking to a 20th place ranking. So at least the judges panel now really know who this team is.
A very solid dance for them. As you mentioned, the deep edges and the rounded curves are very important, and that is where this team excels, in the knees and the deep edges.
Well, as you mentioned, Bob, I think a dance that in the luck of the draw was tailor-made for their style of skating.
Well, the Canadian fans liked it. It was when Robbie Thompson, one of the coaches of Torval and Dean, went over to them after their blues compulsory dance and said, "You should have been number 1. Well, let's see what number they are here. 4 9s and 5s for Bourne and Kratz, and they remain behind. The two couples, they finished behind at the Olympic Games so far. So far, they seem to be in the same spot as the Olympic Games. In the first compulsory dance, the Starlight waltz, Barb off the top mentioned the real wide-open battle for medals here in the dance competition. Here are the French champions with a legitimate chance at their first world medal, Sophie Mongnat and Pascal Lavanchy.
Making it look like they're pushing out there, but they're covering a great deal of ice, carrying good flow throughout.
This is a very strong dance for this couple. I'm noticing the unison is just right on throughout the dance. Very good expression, I felt as well.
They were 5th at the Olympics and the Europeans this year, and at last year's World Championships, and hoping to crack into the top 3, Sophie Mongnat, Pascal Lavanchy. Good year for them. They were winners at Skate Canada and Skate America. That's Danielle Maritel, their coach. And the marks, the best we have seen so far, a 5-7 from the Italian judge, but first place ordinals from all 9 judges for the French champions. Well, was there anybody at the start of the year that thought these two would be the Olympic champions and beat Torvill and Dean and Nusova Zulin? Probably not even Oksana Gricchuk and Evgeny Platov, but here they are, now in pursuit of their first world championship. They won one of the 2 CDs in Lillehammer, and were on their way.
About this team is the ease with which they cover the ice. They really have terrific flow.
But I must say, Barb, I don't think it's a dance that's well suited to them. I think they skate a better tango or a better quick step. But this particular dance, a waltz for them, it's not their forte, in my opinion.
Their first competitive skate as Olympic champions. Oksana Gricchuk, Evgeny Platov.
Well, Chris, you mentioned the fact that it is their first...
Marks come up quickly. 5 6s, 7s, and a 5-8 from Hungary, and 9 first-place marks for the Olympic champions, Gricchuk and Platov. Back with Rockamo and Coco when we return. As we continue the first compulsory dance, the Starlight Waltz, in pursuit of their first world medal from Finland, Susanna Rockamo and Petri Coco, 4th at the Olympic Games and 4th at last year's World Championships in Prague.
Well, I think this is one of the teams that, along with Monod and Levanchy, as well as Krylova and Fedorov, are the teams that are going to do the duking out for the bronze and silver medals here at this World Championship. Well, I watched this performance against the one we just saw from Gricchuk and Platov, and it's unfortunate that for the viewer there isn't more tangible things that we could draw to your attention to differentiate one from another, because they all look so excellent out there.
And so similar. Performed with complete ease, no tugging or pulling between the partners.
Well, they always end up being one of the crowd favorites in whatever city or country they perform in, because they just have an ability to really warm up to the audience.
And the Finnish fans are here for Susanna Rockamo and Petri Coco.
Here's a look at that 3-turn section. Going very nicely, very easily.
5-5, 5-5, 5-6, 5-6,
And it doesn't take long for the marks to come up for these top-seeded skaters, and it's an interesting mix there of ordinals. They have 4 second-place ordinals, 5 thirds, and they are third. Rakamo Coco in behind Mongnat and Lavanchy of France. The 94 Worlds from Japan continue after this. The battle is on for second. Canada's Born and Kratz are in 9th place. As we move to the Tango Romantica, here again the French champions Sophie Mongnat and Pascal Lavanchy, second by the narrowest of margins, edging Finland's Rakamo Coco on a 5-4 judge's decision in that first compulsory dance.
Well, you'll find immediately with this Tango Romantica a very big difference in the style and character of the dance. This one has a lot more integral steps, which means that your placement of your footwork throughout the dance has to be right on.
As well, Paul, there are many transitions between the two partners, which make it more difficult to carry the flow throughout the dance.
Footsteps of the Duchenis. The French champions Mongnat and Lavanchy have certainly made names for themselves in 94.
Well, with that performance, I think they've... Thanks.
Saloperie de plume.
Oui, il a surveillé.
Je suis pas comme tout de suite.
Another great set of marks for this French team in second place. 5 5s and 5 6s. More on the Tango Romantica next. Well, Gene, who better to watch with that in mind than the Olympic champions, Grichuk and Platov. And Paul, as you mentioned, this is a dance more tailored to this couple than the waltz.
This team has such an exuberant style. The Starlight is a more laid-back type of dance. This one really lets you express the music as a tango always does.
But of all the dances to be chosen from, I'd have to say this is probably one of the most difficult dances. There are 4 dances actually chosen a year in advance that the skaters know about and practice, and then 2 of those dances are chosen for the championships. Struggle in any of the transitions here.
As a European skater, Barb, you mentioned the fact that there are 4. The Europeans know that they're going to do all 4 dances during the course of the year, because what happens is 2 of the dances get executed at the European Championships, and the 2 that don't get done automatically get done at our World Championships. So for the North American skaters and the skaters from the rest of the world, they have a chance of perhaps only doing 2 they practiced all four. As is usually the case in most compulsory ice dances, if there are difficult steps to be executed, more often than not, they're given to the woman to do.
The marks for Greek and Plato.
Winners of the first compulsory dance, and these are the best marks we've seen so far. 5 7s, 5 8s, and 9 first-place ordinals. Once again for Grichuk and Platov of Russia. Rakamo Coco are next when we return to Makahari and the '94 World Championship.
Number 11.
Back at the event hall in Makahari, Japan, here are Susanna Rakamo, Petri Coco third after the first compulsory dance, just edged out by the French couple Magnat and Lavanchi, who have skated their Tango Romantica.
Well, I'm sure there was a sense of disappointment that they were third in that dance because they were ahead of Magnat and Lavanchi at the Olympics. I'm sure they were hoping to be in second place at this point.
Of this dance, those skaters who've really worked on their character development and their expression on the ice are really given an opportunity to really let that shine through in this particular compulsory dance.
Susanna Rakamo and Petri Coco of Finland, the senior skaters in the field. She's 29 years of age and he is 28.
Well, they're a team, I think, which we were somewhat nervous for coming into the competitive season because we saw their free dance at the European Championships and felt that perhaps they were delivering a product which wasn't going to be looked upon favorably by the judging community, but they've had an excellent season up to this point and probably looking to cap it off here with a medal.
And these may be the most interesting marks to assess in this second compulsory dance. As we compare it to Magnat and Lavanchi, there's a 5-4 up to 5 7s, and once again a split panel. They have 3 second-place marks, 6 thirds, and they will stay behind Magnat and Lavanchi in third place. Canada's Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz are in 9th place after the Starlight waltz. The Canadian delegation cheering them on. The Canadian camp happy with their performance in the first compulsory dance, but not as pleased with the marks.
For this particular dance are going to be critical to the standings board, because although none of the judges would realize it at this point, there are 3 ties in the top 10 up to this point, and their marks are going to have a bearing on what's going to happen with the teams placing in the 7, 8, and 9 positions at this point in time.
You would never know that this is only their 2nd World Championships. They just have all the qualities of the veterans.
They are maintaining a good level of performance out there, but I find them to be a little bit stiff and hesitant on some of their transitions.
We also have to remember there are 36 dance teams. That means 72 dances and over 5 hours of competition. They are second last to skate this dance. It's a very long day.
Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz. Eric Gillies, their coach, was telling me that although the marks for the compulsory dance only were 20% of the final total, they perhaps devote up to 50% of their time in training for this phase of the competition.
5-1, 4-9.
And now the marks for Bourne and Kratz, and they're up to 5-2s. And so they have made a move here. They have 6th place marks from 5 of the judges, and they've moved ahead of 2 of the dance couples ahead of them. So a big move here in the 2nd compulsory dance for the Canadians. And we'll have more of the 94 Worlds from Makahari when we return. Compulsories in the ice dance competition have concluded. Once again, Gricek Platov win the Tango Romantica. Krylova Fedorov move into 4th. Bourne and Kratz, a good compulsory dance, were 7th. And the overall standings were 20% of the total mark. Show how tight it is after the big 3. Krylova Fedorov, Romanova, Yaroshenko tied for 4th. The Canadians in a 3-way tie for 7th. They're standing by with Brian Williams.
Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz, a great performance here tonight. Congratulations. Now, you were 14th a year ago at the Worlds, 10th at Lillehammer, a jump that's unheard of in the dance. What were your goals performance-wise coming here to Japan?
Well, certainly performance-wise, what we had planned was to enjoy. That's the most thing. As long as we have fun out there, that's the most important thing. And hopefully to come top 10 because so we have a chance of next year sending 2 dance teams to the World Championship.
All right, all of us standing at ice level said you were so quiet we could hardly hear your skates. Do you work on that?
Well, I think it has something to do with the hydroblading. We put on, well, there you go. We put on these hand guards, rollerblading guards, and we skate low to the ice at a 45-degree angle or less, just to get used to the edge and to
be more blade efficient. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And the concept is just Elvis is doing it as well, and we're just having a ball out there.
So this blade efficient work is done in practice and is paying off in competition?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's blade efficiency. It makes you travel faster.
Trust yourself on the edge.
All right, keep that coat on, Victor. Victor Kratz, Shaylee Bourne. Stay with us. Our coverage of the World Figure Skating Championships will continue from here in Japan in just a minute. And in the nights to come, you're going to hear a lot more from this Canadian couple. What's it called?
Hydroblading.
All right, keep your jacket on. We'll
Made
be
in
right
Canada.
back. I know.